Good afternoon and welcome to the December Battle Creek VA Medical Center Veteran Tele Town Hall. I am Brian Pekowski, Chief of Communication and Community Engagement. I will be moderating the call today. We have presentations this afternoon, and after the presentations we will have time for questions about them and other general questions. You can enter the queue to ask a question by hitting *3. That will enter you into the queue to ask a question. Specific questions about your health or your health care will be referred to a patient advocate or the service following the call. But we will be able to answer general questions about the presentation and other general questions on the call. And we will try to get to as many of those as we can after the presentation. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our Chief of Staff, who is also our Acting Medical Center Director today, Dr. Shaw, for opening remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining our Tele Town Hall meeting today. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving holidays. Ms. Martin, our Executive Medical Center Director, sends her regrets for not able to join as she had another commitment that came up. Today you are going to listen to and learn about several updates related to Battle Creek VA, as well as information on several programs that related to veterans care and how important it is for you. So if you have any questions, please feel free, as Brian mentioned, to ask us those questions and we'll clarify. So again, thank you all for joining. So Brian, back to you.
Thanks, Dr. Shaw. We just want to go over a few general announcements and other information before we get to our key presentations today. As most of you know, we did celebrate our 100th anniversary in October, and we had a great celebration. So we thank all who were able to attend earlier this year. We do have some 100th anniversary booklets out in our lobbies for those who weren't able to attend the event. So you can pick up those 100th anniversary booklets in the lobbies of all our locations, in the outpatient clinics as you come in the clinics, or at the Battle Creek VA Medical Center in the lobby as well. And we also celebrated our recovery trick or treat in October, and it was a great event. So we wanted to thank our recovery staff for helping put on that event and celebrating recovery with the veterans and really having a fun way to celebrate recovery and exploring the great ways to really enjoy an event and explain all the recovery programs and mental health programs that we have at the Battle Creek VA Medical Center. In November, we recognized at the military appreciation events with the Battle Creek Area Chamber of Commerce, Michael Snyder, our Toxic Exposure Screening Coordinator with the VA Military Service Award on November 5th. This year, Michael helped coordinate the efforts to ensure toxic exposure screening of over 42,000 veterans with the assistance of the PAC teams and other staff, and we really appreciate his efforts to help educate and drive this important initiative. So we presented Michael Snyder with the VA Service Award at the Military Appreciation event this year, right before Veterans Day. And I'd be remiss if we didn't thank all of you veterans out there and wish you a happy late Veterans Day, but we didn't have a Tele Town Hall during Veterans Month. We also want to recognize our October Employee of the Month Tyler Langoni. Tyler is an advocate for veterans up in Lansing for our homeless veterans and works with the population of HUD-VASH as a HUD-VASH case manager and demonstrates unparalleled level of understanding of the services that are available for the homeless within the city of Lansing. So we want to congratulate Tyler for his work up there. And we also want to recognize for our Daisy Award winner, Rachel Weaver from our Wyoming outpatient clinic. And Rachel has done an outstanding job in nursing in the Wyoming outpatient clinic. And we want to recognize her efforts for serving veterans in that clinic. Our holiday parade is coming up this Thursday, so we can bring the holidays to our veterans here in our residential programs and our community living center, but outpatient veterans are welcome to attend and help spread the holiday cheer as well. So the holiday parade starts at 6 p.m. on campus here and does a lap around campus, so it's always a fun event to help spread that holiday cheer. We also have some events coming up for our women veterans. We have a special Women Veteran Town Hall coming up on December 11th. And also on December 11th, we have a greenhouse evergreen arrangement class from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And the Veteran Tele Town Hall for Women Veteran is in the evening from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And we also are going around to our various outpatient clinics and doing focus groups for women veterans. We have our Lansing focus group for women veterans happening on December 5th in Muskegon. It happens on December 9th and in Wyoming on December 12th, and those are at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And if you need more information on those, you can contact our Women Veteran Program. And lastly, before we turn it over to some other areas for presentation, we wanted to talk about our holiday resource information. We know for some holidays can be stressful, so just a few reminders. If you go to our Battle Creek VA homepage, there are some reminders about the holidays and ways to help eliminate that stress or get help if you need it. And where those resources are available, but just some simple reminders if you need them or ways to get help. We do have our primary care mental health integration team, which is our mental health team that's integrated with primary care if you need somebody to talk to and some simple help and reminders. You can also join some peer support groups that are available regularly around the holidays and some that are available all year long. There's other links and resources available on the website as well. So if you go to the main website, you'll see some holiday resources there available for you. Again, you can hit *3 if you have questions about these resources and others, and I'm going to start turning it over to some other people to present. But if you have questions along the way today, you can hit *3 for general questions. We'll try to get to those at the end of the presentation. So now I'm going to turn it over to our Acting Associate Director, Mr. Kevin Grady.
Hi, thank you, Brian. All right, Mr. Dusenberry's on travel today. He'll be back tomorrow, but wanted me to pass along a few projects nearing completion here on the medical center. Replacement of the fire alarm systems throughout campus is currently being conducted, along with the renovation of inpatient mental health ward, building at 39-2 West. Replacement of facility elevators throughout campus, replacement of HVAC systems throughout campus as well, the renovations of corridors throughout the campus, improvements to signage and wayfinding resources, repair replacement of steam lines, information technology, infrastructure upgrades as well. Those are the projects nearing completion. Projects projected in the future are expansion of our community living center. That's buildings 83 and 84. Is currently approved and in design phase. Replacement of the underground electrical distribution systems, design pending funding. Renovate and relocate audiology from building 2 to building 10 is approved. Renovate building 84-1 is in design. And expand emergency generator systems, design pending and funding. Install energy efficient lighting systems throughout the medical center. That is design pending funding. And CBOX or clinics in the Kalamazoo Coldwater, currently in solicitation process through contracting, and the expansion of Wyoming clinic, 30,000 square feet, projected in FY27, and that's currently in submission in progress. That's back to you, Brian. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Now we're going to turn it over to Ms. Shannon McManus-Bowers to talk about some changes to MyHealtheVet.
Thanks, Brian. So as most of you know, MyHealtheVet is transitioning over the remainder of this year. It's been going on for about a year and a half. There's a nasty rumor running around that MyHealtheVet is going away. And the first thing that we want to make sure everyone understands is that it's not going away at all. The way that you log into MyHealtheVet is changing, but once you're logged into MyHealtheVet, everything is going to be the same as you're used to. The changes that are coming in 2025, after January 31st of 2025, you will need to have an ID.me account to be able to log into your MyHealtheVet account. If you do not have your ID.me account in place by January 31st, 2025, you will not be able to log into your MyHealtheVet account. You will not lose anything that you have saved in your account. You will simply have to create an ID.me account before you're able to log in. The two options that we currently have for the multi-factor authentication are login.gov and ID.me. In Battle Creek, we support ID.me, as ID.me gives the employee many more options to help the veteran if you're hitting a snag in the process. If you already have a login.gov account and it's working for you, then you are free to continue using the login.gov account. You do not need to create an ID.me if your login.gov account is working. Why will the VA only allow 2 sign-in account options with this change? Well, the VA did a tremendous amount of research into fraud and the impacts that it has on our veteran population and military retirees. And in that research, they deducted that login.gov and ID.me were the safest and the easiest for the veterans to use. I know that they can be extremely frustrating, but after several years of research, that's what they deduced down to what we are going to use. Will caregivers be able to help veterans manage their health care online? This is one of the challenging spots right now in this transition. If you are or have a caregiver and your veteran currently has a MyHealtheVet account, you can continue to use their MyHealtheVet account until January 31st. ID.me promises us that they will have a way of uploading caregivers into the system by January 31st. Unfortunately, we don't have that option yet. If the veteran that you're caring for does not already have a MyHealtheVet account, unfortunately, you can no longer create MyHealtheVet accounts. You have to go in through login.gov or ID.me. So the caregivers whose veterans do not currently have an account will not be able to create one until we are given the process sometime between now and January 31st. and I apologize for that. The many things that you need to have in place before you log in to try this process or you come in for help are as follows. You always need to have a driver's license or a state ID. It has to be valid and cannot be expired. You always have to have a phone that can receive a call or a text, and you always have to have a device that you can check your email on, phone, tablet, or laptop. Sometimes you're going to need your Social Security card or your DD-214. And worst case scenario, you will need a bill with your name and address printed on the bill. The always need items are what we need minimally to get your account created. If the system does not recognize the photo in your driver's license or your state ID, then we need the Social Security card or the DD-214 to submit as a second level. If we end up requiring a video call, that's when the bill or your car registration comes in. The ways that you can seek assistance when trying to create these accounts are, number one, you can call the MyHealtheVet helpline at 877-327-0022. You'll want to push option 1 for login assistance, and then option 1 again to connect you with the ID.me support line. We have on-site staff at several locations right now, and we're in the process of building so that we'll be at the locations that we aren't currently occupying. Benton Harbor, every Monday from 9 until 3, you can find me there. Battle Creek, Monday through Friday in building 136 from 9 to 4. Lansing, the last Tuesday of the month from 9 to 3. And currently in Wyoming, Tim and Renee can help in the patient advocate's office. We're working on getting a schedule for MyHealtheVet assistance in Wyoming and in Muskegon and adding some time to our Lansing schedule. That's all from me, Brian.
All right, thanks, Shannon. All right. Next, we're going to go to Miss Sarah Schroeder with some information on community care.
Thanks, Brian. And will you be moving the slides forward, or do I need to do that? I just wanted to verify before I get started.
I can do it.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. As Brian said, my name is Sarah Schroeder. I'm the Chief of Community Care here at Battle Creek VA. I'm going to be going over a whole lot of different information about community care because I recognize that it's a confusing program. There's a lot of questions. I'm sure I can't answer them all, but I want to give a general overview and see if I can answer a lot of them. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And this is the current Mission Act specifics. And this is how community care, the program is dictated to us, and this is per law. This is not something that the VA created. This is written into law. So community care, except for emergencies, must be pre-authorized with an authorization number created. That is what's done here locally at community care. We create the authorization packet. The care has to be provided by a community care network provider, which our network provider is Optum. The veteran must meet the eligibility requirements for care in the community, and we'll be going over those in a minute. The consults are ordered by a primary care provider and in some cases the specialist. They are specific to the diagnosis and are approved with a standard episode of care that explains the coverage. And this is important because if you get a community care consult to go get seen for your right arm, when you're there, you're not able to say, you know, while I'm here, can you also take a look at my left ankle? Because the consult is only usually for one body part or one specific diagnosis. The additional services that are needed are approved through a request for service form. We call it an RFAS or a form 1010-172. And consults cannot be extended. A new consult must be provided for continuation of coverage. Next slide. So community care eligibility, here's the standard eligibilities that we see mostly. And this is when, the first one is when there's a drive time issue, and that is if you are a 30-minute drive time for primary care or mental health care. If it's 30 minutes drive time for you to get to a VA facility that offers that care, whether it's the main facility or a clinic, then you would qualify for drive time. And it's a 60-minute drive time for specialty care, and that includes lab, x-ray, anything other than primary care and mental health care is a 60-minute drive time is the requirement. For wait time, there's a 20-day wait time for primary and mental health care unless the veteran agrees to a later date with working with their VA provider, or a 28-day wait time for specialty services. So again, anything like x-rays, podiatry, anything other than mental health and primary care is a 28-day wait time. Next slide. So the community care eligibilities, the next two that are seen also is best medical interest. That means you're not eligible for community care per the other eligibilities, but for some reason, usually specialized care or travel difficulties that are severe, then we can authorize it under best medical interest. The other reason is the veteran needs a service not available at a VA facility. Because we don't offer all services here at Battle Creek, a lot of times that's the eligibility that gets you to the community care, is that it's something that we just don't offer here at Battle Creek. Next slide. So a couple of general did you know kind of situations. There is no timeline for when a community provider has to schedule your appointment. Many clinics are scheduling out 6+ months. And I brought this up because a lot of times there is the misunderstanding that we can't see you at the VA within 28 days, so we send you to the community. And then the veteran's upset when they find out that their preferred provider is scheduling out 5 months. That's something we have no control over. Our only control is getting you the consult to your preferred provider, and then they determine how far out they're scheduling. The community care provider determines the urgency of your appointment after a review of records. So sometimes we think something needs to be seen quicker, but the community provider reviews it and says, well, actually, that doesn't need to be seen tomorrow. We can see them in a couple weeks. That is something we also do not have control over. That's determined by the community provider. Many mental health providers in the community rely on telehealth visits, particularly since COVID. This has gotten very popular. So face-to-face visits are hard to find at times, and you may be put on a wait list. This is happening a lot, that veterans only want to be seen face-to-face, and then unfortunately, that's very hard to come by sometimes in the community, regardless of the area. A lot of providers are using telehealth visits. And oftentimes, you can be seen in the VA much sooner than in the community. We may have to send you out because we can't see you within 28 days, but we can see you in 60 days, and the wait for that same service in the community might be 6 months. So it's always good to have an idea of how quickly we can get you in at the VA. It might be a lot quicker than the community. Okay, next slide. So understanding the consult process, just to quickly let you know so you know what to expect. The consult's requested by the VA provider for care, and they enter the consult. And then that consult goes through our referral coordination or comes directly to community care, depending on whether we offer the service here at Battle Creek or not. They determine if you meet the eligibility for community care, established medical necessity, and then the veteran is contacted by either community care or referral coordination team to discuss the options. And this includes asking you your preferred provider or your area that you want to be seen, like, I want someone in Grand Rapids or something like that. And also they let you know the self-scheduling options if you want to do that for yourself. If it's sent to community care, the authorization is created and it's sent to the community provider, and the appointment is obtained by either the VA or the veteran. We ask you when we're talking to you if you want to call and make your appointment and let us know that, or if you want us to do it for you. And at the scheduled time or date, the veteran attends their appointment, verifies with the community provider that authorization has been received so that they can bill the VA. Next slide. So a couple of things I wanted to point out. Community providers can refuse to see a veteran due to unacceptable behavior to their staff or to other patients. If this happens, you will be required to select another provider, and this may result in greater drive time and or wait times. We cannot make any community providers, we can't force them to see a veteran. So if there's a problem, then they can ask us to have you go to another provider, and we'll work with you to select another one. But if you're having a problem problem with community provider due to poor quality of care or any other concerns, please make sure you reach out to the community care office here immediately so that we can address that. We can look for a remedy and we can get you assigned to another preferred provider. Next slide. So the basics of the request for service forms. This has gotten a lot of attention lately because this is a requirement by the Mission Act. So the authorized community care providers are required to put in a request for service form for all services except for dental and in vitro fertilization. The community care authorized consults that need continuation of care, additional services, or additional specialties. So if you're seeing a podiatrist and he wants you to go see another specialist that's not covered under that authorization, they would submit a request of service form to community care here at Battle Creek for us to request that additional consult. And we also use this form for durable equipment requests. It is a form, as I said, we call it an RFS, or a request for service form, or form 10-10172. It has to be fully completed by the community provider and sent to the Battle Creek VA Community Care Department so that we can process it prior to any of the care occurring. Clinical documentation has to come with the form that supports the request, and the form must be signed by the community provider when it's sent to the Battle Creek VA. Next slide. So the basics of the RFS form continued. This is just another, it just means that it's pre-authorized care. If they want something additional done, then we will look into that, make sure it's required, it's medically necessary, and that it's not something we offer here at the VA, and then we can get the new consult entered. It does allow for better care coordination for the veteran and make sure that we are receiving the best, most appropriate care at the best, most appropriate location. If it's an additional service they want, we might be able to do it a lot quicker here at the VA, so we want to make sure you have that information to make an informed decision. And this form is the only way to request approval for additional services. The requests received without a form or from anyone other than the community provider will not be processed. The request for service form must be faxed to the community care or uploaded electronically into a portal that's used by your community providers, which is called HSRM. Next slide. Just wanted to briefly touch on prescriptions and community care because this is a question that comes up. If you see a community provider and he determines a prescription is immediately required, medications can be prescribed up to a 14-day supply and filled at a participating in-network pharmacy for veterans who were referred care through a CCN provider. The veteran must provide prescription benefit information to a participating CCN pharmacy, and this is for urgent care or authorized consults only. For an example for an authorized consult is if you went to your cardiologist today and he says, oh my gosh, we've got to change your medication and I need you to start this other medication today, then that is a situation that you could go and get a 14-day supply. You could get that done locally. And if that situation comes up and you have questions, you can always call us here at Community Care and we can help you through that situation. If the veterans do not have an authorization for care through the CCN contractor, or they utilize a non-CCN participating pharmacy, they will have to pay out of pocket and seek reimbursement through the local VAMC. We send those forms out to Ohio for processing. If that situation comes up, you can contact us in Community Care also. And we can print the billing information, take it to your in-network pharmacy. It's usually CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, the main ones. When using the card, identify the correct region where you are seeking care. And for prescriptions of more than 14-day supply, or if the prescribed medication is not immediately needed, then the community provider must send the prescription to the local VA, and they'll fill it through our pharmacy here at the VA. Next slide. So here's some common billing problems for people that have a consult in the community care. People run into these things sometimes. Usually there's one of these 5 reasons that causes a billing problem. The wrong VA authorization number was used. Some of these facilities will leave an old authorization on your record and they'll try billing to an old one, and that's why it's denied. Care provided outside the authorization period. Every consult for community care has a designated time, usually 180 days, and that is the days that the care is valid, and it starts the day of your first appointment under that consult. So if you get seen outside that auth period, that would create a billing problem because the VA will not cover that outside the authorization period. A lot of times the authorization number is not shared with ancillary services. We see this a lot from community providers that will send you to get an x-ray or send you to get a lab. They forget to share that authorization number with the people they sent you to, so therefore you might get a bill. Those are easily resolved. Bills for care not included on the consult. If your provider does something that was not authorized, then that is not something that the VA will cover, so that would be denied. Or they bill your other insurance on record instead of the VA. Whenever you're being seen, it's very good to tell the people, verify with them that they are going to be billing the VA and provide the authorization number when you check in just to make sure. First, and when you received a notice in the mail, sometimes it says this is not a bill. So if you receive one of those, please don't be concerned yet because it's still being processed. And the first action to take is to always call the number on the bill that you do receive and provide your VA authorization number and ask them to bill that. That should always be done prior to coming to community care for help with billing, because a lot of times that resolves it immediately. Next slide. So here's how to decrease problems with community care. It's really important that you open and read the letters you receive for consult approval details, including the authorization dates. We do send these out in the mail or through secure messaging if you use that. So always, always open your mail to make sure that, maybe we're trying to reach you, we've been unsuccessful. Care outside the dates or outside the scope of the consult will not be paid by the VA. If you need additional care, contact your PAC team. Or if you have to call community care, we can help you navigate that as well. Continuation of care requests should be entered 30 days prior to the expiration at a minimum, and we aim for a 3-day turnaround. If you show up at your community provider today for your 6-month follow-up visit and realize you don't have an authorization, unless it's an emergency visit, they are not going to be able to process it that day for that care to be covered for that day. We need to have at least a 3 business day turnaround, but it's preferable to have closer to 30 for non-urgent situations. And continuation of care requests are only a request. They may or may not be approved because it's based on clinical need and justification. So you should never continue care without verifying that a new authorization has been received by the provider. If they've requested continuation of care, make sure that they receive that new consult prior to continuing the care, or you will be responsible for the charges. All right, next slide. We're going to quickly go through urgent and emergent care, the differences between the two. So next slide again. We'll go to emergency care. During a medical emergency, you should immediately seek care at the nearest emergency department. A medical emergency is an injury, illness, or symptom so severe that a delay in seeking immediate medical attention would be reasonably expected to be hazardous to life or health. If you believe your life or health is in danger, call 911 or go to the nearest emergency department right away. Go to the nearest one. You don't have to get online and check and see which one is, the VA wants you to go to. Just go to the nearest one. If your condition does not meet the criteria above, though, if it's not a true emergency, please consider urgent care at the Battle Creek VA or a community urgent care utilizing your Mission Act urgent care benefit. Urgent care is not handled by the Battle Creek Community Care Department, and the authorizations are actually handled by the urgent care clinic that you attend. So if you go to an urgent care clinic, when you check in, you need to tell them you want to be seen and using your VA benefit. They are required to call and get the authorization number at that time. Please make sure that's done, because oftentimes they don't do it and you don't have any clue until afterwards they send you a bill for it. And we can't help you with those locally, unfortunately, because we do not have any access to the urgent care network. So please make sure when you check in that they give you the authorization information. Next slide. So when you do seek emergency care at an ER, you need to inform the emergency care provider to report your emergency treatment to the VA centralized call center as soon as possible, but it absolutely has to be done within 72 hours. That is the VA emergency care notification hotline. There's also a portal that can be used. I do have a PowerPoint here if you're online that we do have a phone number for that. I'll read it off for those that might be able to jot it down. It is 844-724-7842. You or someone acting on your behalf can also report to that emergency line or the community provider. It doesn't really matter, just somebody needs to within 72 hours. and they will ask you some questions to identify that it's truly an emergency, where the care is being received, et cetera, and that creates the authorization for your care. If you have to be coordinated for treatment to a transfer to another facility, then we will need a second call, and usually the facility will do that, but you can call too just to verify. And to notify the VA of an emergency event allows the covered veterans to have their emergency treatment authorized by the VA. Failure to report the emergency care to the VA within 72 hours will impact the eligibility for VA to cover the cost of the treatment. However, if the notification to the VA did not occur timely, if it wasn't within 72 hours, please still call. It'll still be reviewed for reimbursement. We just can't guarantee it. Next slide. And then we're going to wrap this up. So a couple of the emergency care basics. It has to meet the criteria of an emergency, or the VA can refuse to pay that. So if it's a judgment call, they're always going to err on the side of the veteran and consider emergency. But if you go in for something very minor, then just know that if that doesn't meet criteria of an emergency, then that is one of the criteria for payment from the VA. If you're admitted after an ER visit, they directly admit you, you are covered for up to 30-day stay. It's important to know that the authorization or your coverage stops when you're discharged from the emergency room. If follow-up care is needed, a separate consult is needed, and you should contact your PAC team, or you can call community care. That's really important. If you see somebody and they say, we want you to see a specialist tomorrow, that specialist follow-up visit, even though the ER told you to do it and may have made you an appointment, that is not covered under that VA authorization. You need a new consult for that, so we need you to get in touch with us ASAP so we can take care of that. And ambulance payments are handled through the Veteran Transportation Department. That is not something that's covered under community care. And I just have the last slide is some resources for who to call if you're having some billing issues, and the Battle Creek Community Care number. I'll give that to everybody in case you want to reach out to us, 269-223-5011. That is the number to reach us. And also, please know the best way to reach us is through secure messaging through MyHealtheVet. Any person can drop, when you create a message, there's a drop down, and you can select community care, general questions, or anything like that. And we have a great record of answering those, usually within one, sometimes up to 2 business days, but usually 1 business day. So you can always send us a message there. And with that, that is it. Thank you for your service, and I hope I answered some of your questions about community care. Thanks.
All right, thanks. I know there's a lot of information covered. Again, you can hit *3 to be placed in the queue to ask a general question about community care or anything covered on today's call, or any other general questions. Again, you can hit *3 to be placed in the queue to ask a general question. And we'll try to get to some of those in just a moment. All right. We'll go to some questions now. One question that came in regard to community care was why the community care letters go out clearly stating there's 14 days from the date on the letter to schedule an appointment, but some of those arrive after the 14-day window.
Yes, and this is actually something that we're really struggling with, and why we have gone to using secure messaging a lot more, because we have no control over how long it takes to get the mail to somebody, and we've seen some real delays in that. The letter's written that way because it's dictated language that we have to write. However, please know that we never cancel it without sending you another letter or contacting you on the phone to let you know that, hey, we still haven't heard from you. It's been over 14 days. Do you still want this consult or not? So we have to word it that way, 14 days from the date of the letter. But please know, regardless of when you get it, please reach out to us. So we will be more than happy to take care of that for you, regardless of when you reach out to us.
All right, thank you. We should note that this information is also streamed to our Battle Creek VA Medical Center Facebook page. So if you want to review the information that's covered on the call or see some of the slides or information, and resources. You can see it on our Facebook page, and it is recorded there. Okay. We'll try to take some of the calls now. Let's go to Norman. Norman, go ahead with your question. Hi, Norman, go ahead with your question.
Are you talking to Sauser, Norman?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I did record what my interests were. My main interest is I live in the Berrien County area, and we're real glad we've got a little bit larger outpatient clinic here and whatever. We don't really get any specialized care even weekly. I thought that there might be at some point after a few years in its location and many years in Benton Harbor, and the veteran population, from my understanding, is a factor of 2 to 1 of most counties in Michigan. So we certainly have a need. Audiology clinic, optometry clinic, maybe, and certainly radiology. I wonder if we're ever going to see those on a circuit basis with the doctors and the specialists who provide those services. So we can use the community care, and it's great. But I was just wondering if the VA is ever going to realize what the volume of traffic and the need for that is. And thank you for your help in this conference call.
All right. Thanks for your question.
All right. Thank you. This is Dr. Shah. To give you an update, we continually look at where the veteran specialty needs are and try to work with that. So regarding audiology, for example, we are right now working with Muskegon and Lansing regarding teleaudiology, and our plan is to expand in Benton Harbor, this year, FY25, to expand, and provide services through teleaudiology. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll give you update, as we are able to plan that. Regarding radiology, for example, so any veteran who has urgent, emergent need, who goes to the clinic and has a radiology, film that's needed urgently, we are able to get that because they are able to get approval for emergent, urgent, needs. We have been looking into what can be done related to the elective, non-urgent films that may be needed, and we've been trying to see what can be done. So I don't have update on that yet. And the other item you mentioned, service you mentioned, was about ophthalmology. So we just implemented about 3 months ago a program called TEX program, which is a technology-based eye care program at Muskegon Clinic. This is the first time in our network we have implemented that. So we are going to see how that works, in which this program actually, veterans don't have to go to Wyoming Clinic or Battle Creek Eye Clinic, but a technician who is trained into utilization of special machines can do a lot of exams, and that are transferred to the eye doc at Battle Creek in Wyoming. So based on how things go in Muskegon, we will see how we can expand that to Lansing and then Benton Harbor. So we continually look at that and try to expand our services. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Shaw. Yeah, we definitely look at those numbers and evaluate what's being sent out to community care and how we can use that and what's required, and what we're able to bring and do at the smaller clinics. So that's an ongoing evaluation and testing some of those things at the smaller clinics. So thanks for your question, Norman. We have another question that was sent online asking, can they make an appointment directly with physical therapy, or do they need to do it with another physician? Dr. Shaw, do you have insight into that for physical therapy? Can they do that directly with physical therapy, or does that have to be a referral?
Yeah, if a veteran has never had a physical therapy or is related to a new condition, then the veteran does need a referral from primary care provider. So if you are already seen by our primary care provider, you can contact them through the phone call, telephone, or a secure message so they can evaluate what is needed and they can assist the veteran in making referrals.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. We have another question coming in from Lawrence. Lawrence, go ahead with your question.
Yes, I was listening to the community care person who was giving instructions on what to do for various things that I didn't have time to write down or I'm not fast enough to write all that down. So that would include also what you do in a case of emergency. And so I'm wondering where I could find that in writing. And it sounds like maybe that question was answered right after I called in. And that person said that you can go on the VA Facebook page to see where that is written.
Yep. So we did stream some of this information to our VA Facebook page. Also, when you come for your appointments, each clinic has a reference sheet at the clinic that is like an emergency sheet that has key numbers, and each of those have the ER emergency contact number on them, and those are in the lobbies of the clinic. And each clinic also usually has little business cards with the ER notification line on it. So look around in the lobbies of those. We also usually have magnets with the ER notification line on them. But for now, you can definitely get it off the Facebook page as well. But did you have another question?
Well, no, I have the number to call in case of emergency, but it sounded like there was something else that was required, like an authorization when you get there or an authorization afterwards rather than just calling the emergency number.
Brian, I'm thinking maybe that was about the urgent care, because I talked about that next. The urgent care, they give you the authorization while you're there at the urgent care clinic.
When you say the urgent care clinic, does that mean the VA urgent care clinic?
No, that would be a community urgent care. The VA does cover you to be seen at the community urgent cares that are in network, and a website that they have all of the clinics, all of these phone numbers, all the resources that I've been talking about. You can put into Google search, just put in VA community care, and it will bring you right up to a website, a va.gov website that has all of the information about the community care program and the numbers, the phone numbers, the links to find who's in network, all that good information.
Okay, because last time I had a urgent care issue, I had to drive up to Battle Creek, and it's like 70 miles, 60, 70 miles, something like that. And travel pay was not authorized for that. So if there's a way to do it locally, then I'd just like to find out the details, so I'll do what you suggested.
All right. Thanks for your question.
You're welcome.
We'll go to Roberta with a question. Go ahead with your question, Roberta.
Hi, yes. I was wondering if you're out of state and you have an emergency, does community care cover that?
That's a great question. The community care program does cover veterans throughout the United States, the continental United States. So if you're traveling, simply go to any emergency room, let them know that you're a veteran, and it's the same process.
Okay, great. Thanks for the update. That's a good answer, good question. Another question in the chat here, is there a printout of all community care programs and benefits? So that website, again, probably would be a good location. Can you give that website again for community care?
Sure, it is www.va.gov/community-care.
Thank you. All right, next we're going to go to Timothy with a question. Go ahead, Timothy, with your question.
Yes, my question is, sometimes a situation will come where, like recently with me, where, I don't get as much, with all the bills and stuff coming in, so I can't eat as good, and I have a lot of medicine to take. And I had a reaction, and where I thought I was about to die, so I had to go into the medical facility. And, Dr. Cody and all of them, they're beautiful doctors. They're not doctors, they're healers. I call them healers. I thank Jesus Christ, John the Baptist, and all of them for, everything set up where we can do things, in this level right now. But she was talking about some kind of ID to log in or something like that. I don't understand how this. I don't know if I understood the chief right when she was speaking about some ID. You need to log in, and if so, then how you come about getting the ID and
For MyHealtheVet?
yes.
Okay. Yeah. We'll have Shannon talk to you a little bit about that, and then you may, next time you're at the clinic, do you go to Lansing Clinic then?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And Battle Creek.
Oh, and Battle Creek. Okay. Shannon?
Hi, Mr. DeMeyers. It's Shannon. So MyHealtheVet is the patient portal that allows you to communicate digitally with your provider. You can send messages, you can request medications, you can check your appointments, and there's a large variety of documents that you can pull out of the site if you need those as well, for both your medical history and for your military history. So if you have a provider in the community, you may use MyChart or MyHealth as their version of MyHealtheVet. And the way that you get set up with that is you can either go to va.gov and click create an account, and it will allow you to create that account. Or Liz is in Lansing on the last Tuesday of every month if you want to stop in there and get some help on site. Or we also have someone in Battle Creek Monday through Friday from 9 to 4 in building 136 if you want to get some hands-on help. If you do come in for some help, make sure you bring a device that you can get a phone call or a text on. We need to be able to check your email real quick, and you need to have your driver's license and something with your name and Social Security printed on it, like your Social Security card or your DD-214.
All right. Thanks, Shannon. All right. Next, we're going to go to Kane with a question. Go ahead, Kane, with your question.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I have a couple of questions, but I'm going to try to keep it very simple. I live in Van Buren County. I am 35 minutes from Benton Harbor. I'm an hour from Wyoming. And honestly, due to care I received several years ago, I am in 100% refusal to go to Benton Harbor. I've made that clear over and over again, but yet when certain things go on for community care, they're like, oh, well, there's stuff in Benton Harbor you can go to. And I'm like, how many times I got to tell you, I will never go back to Benton Harbor the way I was treated. Give me community care. Well, Benton Harbor can get you in 20 days or 18 days, but I'm like, nobody else can, and I refuse to go there. I have the right to choose my care. Get me into community care. Why is there such a fight for things when, I mean, I understand there's processes to go through. I understand that there's other things to go through, but to me, it doesn't make sense that you're going to force me to go somewhere where I don't want to go because I don't like the people and the treatment I've received there.
Yeah. No, we certainly respect your decision on that, but we also have to follow what's given to us based on the law. So there are certain guidelines that are outlined in the law and steps that we have to follow based on that. So
okay, well, may I ask when those went into effect? Because a year ago it wasn't like that. A year and a half ago it wasn't like that. It's only been this last year, like not even a year since I moved. I was a long time Benton Harbor person until I was treated like junk, in my opinion. So I requested to go to Wyoming. I went to Wyoming. I've been going to Wyoming ever since. That's like 2017. Mm-hmm. And I've never went there. I've never went back to Benton Harbor. I respect your rules. I respect the decisions, and I respect that there is a process. But if I continually am refusing to go to Benton Harbor, I should be able to get services elsewhere, or something else has to be done. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean here. I really ain't. I really like the VA service I receive. I'm glad of the VA services I receive. It's just that I know that they haven't changed out people there. The front desk people are still the same front desk people that were there when I used to go there over 10 years ago.
Yeah, we could have somebody contact you on that, sir. But the things that.
No, I know this is supposed to be general, and I appreciate it, and I'm sorry, but to me, this is a general statement. If any veteran feels uncomfortable going to a specific CBOC that is their closest CBOC, then they request to go to one that's a little farther away. Like I don't request travel pay. I'm sure another veteran in the same situation would not request travel pay if they want to use a different CBOC or the actual Battle Creek Hospital, because they're both an hour away from me. I'm choosing to go to those. Right. If a veteran doesn't want to go, so I've never put in travel pay for Wyoming because I go to Wyoming now because that was my choice. I've never put in travel pay for Battle Creek. General question here is why has it become so difficult in the past year or so? Because before that, if I reached out MyHealtheVet to my doctor and said, hey, I got this going on, they'd be like, hold on. Then there'd be like 2 or 3 messages back and forth, and then they'd be like, okay, hey, we're sending you to community care.
Okay.
Now it's
we're getting
a fight.
Top of the hour, so I'm gonna have to end the call here, but. The difference is that there's certain laws in place that dictate what we can do for community care and what we're able to send out to community care. So then that dictates where the travel lines are drawn. So that may dictate where those are able to send. So we could have somebody call and follow up with you on that specifically, because that is more of a specific question. But if you choose to stay within the VA and travel further, that is certainly your choice. So thanks for your question, and thanks for everybody joining the call. We want to wish you all a happy holidays and Merry Christmas, and thanks for joining us today.